Hi, it's Summer and this is my winter TBR. I guess it's kind of more like hopefuls that I don't beat myself up too badly about if I can't read all of them. The first book on my list is Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane. And I actually already read this book, so I'm starting out strong. This is a second chance romance set around Christmas. There's a marriage of convenience trope as well. It's also a sapphic romance, which I love, and there's also a lot of other queer representation in the book. The main characters are Ellie and Jacqueline, who goes by Jack. Last Christmas Eve, they met randomly in a bookstore and hit it off and spent the whole entire holiday together. We know that it ended badly, but we don't know exactly what happened. So we have that perspective, and then also the perspective of current day, like 2022 Christmas. And the fake marriage that Ellie kind of like falls into. She's strapped for cash and there's a lot of money in it for her, so that's kind of why she's doing it. She's kind of like a failed illustrator and she has a webcomic that she writes on the side, and it's kind of autobiographical. So pretty much all of her following knows what happened between her and Jack last Christmas. To make this fake marriage more convincing, she decides to spend Christmas with her fake fiance's family, and when she gets there, she's really surprised to find out that his sister is Jack from last Christmas. I don't want this TBR to turn into a wrap-up, but I really loved this one. Next is The Green Glass House by Kate Milford. This is a middle grade that looks like it's set during the winter, but that's kind of all that I really know about it. This book has kind of always been in the back of my mind of like good Christmas time books, because I'm pretty sure a couple of years ago I saw a couple of people on YouTube recommend it. I think that the recommendations might have been from Olivia from Liv's Library and Zoe from Zoe Delaney. I don't know for sure though, but it looks like it's gonna be super cozy and I don't know, I'm excited to pick it up. After that, I have Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I love the cover, and I mainly want to read this time of year because I have it available to me on Libby. It sounds like this one is also a female-female kind of relationship romance, which is kind of a trend with this TBR. It wasn't intentional, but I'm not mad about it. It sounds like the main characters are Miri and Leah. It says that Miri thinks that she has her wife back when Leah finally returns after a deep sea mission that ended in catastrophe. So it sounds like Leah came back different and isn't really like being forthcoming about what actually happened during the deep sea mission. Some of the genre tags that are attached to this one are horror, literary fiction, gothic, and audiobook. So I'm guessing that means the audiobook is good, and I'm glad because that's how I'm also going to be experiencing this one. I really hope that we get to hear about like the deep sea side of this book, and that's kind of where the horror comes in. It kind of reminds me of like Sphere by Michael Crichton. I love isolation thrillers, and the deep sea is one of my biggest fears, so I would love more books about that. I'm guessing that it's not going to be super heavy in this book because it's like literary fiction and it's kind of like a romance type of thing, like about their relationship. So I'm guessing we won't get too much of that, but I hope we get at least a little bit. Like, I'm reading this because I want the horror side of it too. Next on my list is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Marino Garcia. I absolutely love this cover, and this is also an author that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. The inside flap says, a dreamy reimagining of the island of Dr. Moreau set against the backdrop of 19th century Mexico. This one is following Carlotta Moreau and her father and the hybrids that he makes. It sounds like sci-fi horror, and I am so excited for this one. This book feels a little bit outside of the vibe that I've chosen for this season, but this is one that I've just really wanted to get to, and so I think that I'm going to pick it up more like in January, because I think for December I really want to read like the cozy kind of festive books, but I cannot wait for this one. Next, I have A Far Wilder Magic by Allison Saft. I am obsessed with this cover too. This is so beautiful. I don't even know if I've fully looked at the synopsis for this book, but I've just been convinced by a few of my friends on Instagram that I need to read this. It's young adult, which I usually kind of steer clear of, but I'm going to put my feelings about that to the side to read this one. It says it's young adult fantasy, romance, magical realism, and historical fiction. Historical fiction is also one of those genres that I kind of steer clear of, but again, I'm putting that to the side. I've also seen a few people make like aesthetic boards for this book, which has just convinced me even more to read it, but it looks a little bit like Dark Academia. And I've also seen people fan cast the same actor that plays Kaz Brecker as the main male love interest in this book. So that also sold me. I was going to look at the synopsis to be able to tell you more specifically what it's about, but I kind of don't think that I want to. I think that I want to go into this one without really knowing anything. Next on my list is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. As you can see, I am actually currently reading this one. This is a cozy fantasy about an orc who decides to stop fighting and going to war and stuff and open up a coffee shop in a town that has never even heard of coffee before. There is also a female-female romance in this book too. So far, this is just the coziest thing ever. I'm definitely going to need more cozy fantasy books in my near future. I'm just really loving this, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a 5-star. After that, I have How to Excavate a Heart by Jake Maya Arlo. It says Shani runs into May, like literally with her mom's Subaru. And then it says Shani is unceremoniously dumped days before winter break. And then I'm not sure how much time passes, but eventually they are snowed in together on Christmas Eve. And I love that so much. It also says Kelly Quinlan meets Casey McQuiston in this sapphic Jewish twist on the classic Christmas enemies to lovers rom-com. I think this one just sounds super cute. After that on my list is The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich, because I have literally heard nothing but good things about this book. So it's sci-fi about like on the same day, every single person in the entire world finds a box on their doorstep that has like the exact day and time that they're going to die. And then I think it just follows the chaos of what happens after that. The people that decide to look in the box and see what that date is, the people that decide they don't want to, but it's just kind of like looming over them. And I can already tell that this book is probably going to make me anxious, but I just need to know what happens in this book. I obviously haven't read it yet, but I kind of want to do a little bit of like a, if you liked this, read this for this book. So if you liked The Measure, I think that you might like The Postmortal. I think it's by Drew Magary. I actually read it around this time of year a couple of years ago, and it's in a world where there's like a cure for death basically. I think it's a shot that you get and it stops your aging, it stops you from ever getting sick again. So people are basically just like living forever now, and you kind of see like what happens to society after that, like what happens to people's marriages, human rights stuff that kind of comes up out of it. It was a very interesting and thought-provoking read, and it kind of reminds me of The Measure a little bit. That's kind of off topic, but now back to the TBR. Next on my list is Love Light Farms by BK Borison. Absolutely in love with this cover as well. This one follows Stella and Luca, who have been best friends for like 10 years. Stella owns a tree farm that's kind of going bankrupt a little bit, and so to try and get some extra money, she enters a social media contest. The influencer that's running the contest will come to your small business, make content about it, and then she's going to pick like her favorite out of like a handful of ones that she chose, and then the winner gets a bunch of money. And they also will get a lot of like followers and people coming to their business because of like the publicity and stuff. So to kind of like fluff up her application, she lies and says that she runs the Christmas tree farm with her boyfriend. So when her application is accepted, she has to find a fake boyfriend, so she ends up asking Luca. The Christmas vibes in this one are so perfect. It is so cozy. Again, I don't want to turn this into a wrap up, but I love this one so much. Next, I have A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julia Murphy and Sierra Simone. The synopsis says, a steamy plus-size holiday rom-com about an adult film star who is semi-accidentally cast as a lead in a family-friendly Christmas movie, and the former bad boy pop star she falls in love with. I love the plus-size representation, and I've heard this one is so funny. Next, I have A Cat Cafe Christmas. This one is by Cody Gary. Just look at this cover. Is this not just the cutest thing you've ever seen? It says, a laugh-out-loud opposites attract romance about three of the world's most beloved seas: Christmas, coffee, and cats. What else do you need? This is about a vet who opens up a cat cafe, and she's trying to get all of the cats adopted by Christmas, but she's having a hard time with like the marketing and like business side of it. And then the love interest just happens to be a marketing business guy, so he's going to help her get all of the cats adopted by Christmas. This pretty much just sounds like my perfect book. After that, I have The Snowman by Joe Nesbo. This one is a suspenseful crime mystery thriller. And I think this one is just about a killer that leaves behind snowmen that are kind of like tied to his victims. I think that I actually started watching the film adaptation of this one, but didn't get very far into it, so I haven't been spoiled for anything. After that is There's Something About Mary by Cody Hall. I'm pretty sure that I saw Gwen and Jesse talking about this one. The buzzwords that are kind of hopping out at me are Idaho, tree farm, online dating, and second chance romance. Next is one that I don't really know if I'm mentally ready for, but I'm reading it no matter what. And it's Sorrow and Starlight, Zodiac Academy number 8. I'm just in too deep to give up now. And we thought this was going to be the last book, but they actually announced that there's going to be a book number 9. So I guess this is like the second to last book in the series. I already know it's gonna be rough, but I just have to know what happens. For anyone that doesn't know about Zodiac Academy, it follows two twins, Tori and Darcy, that get wrapped up in the world of Fae because they find out they are lost princesses to this world called Solaria. They end up going to this university called Zodiac Academy to like learn magic and stuff. And there are 4 guys there that everybody calls the heirs that were next in line for the throne, kind of, until Tori and Darcy came into the picture. So they really hate Tori and Darcy and bully them relentlessly. The world and the magic and the school and stuff heavily revolves around like zodiac signs and stuff, which is super cool. It is in desperate need of an editor, and it can also be really cheesy at times, but I love the characters, I love the drama, I love the world. So anyway, I'm excited for Zodiac number 8, but also very scared. After that, I have Malice House by Megan Shepherd. This one is about Haven, who has to go clean out her late father's house, and while she's going through everything, she finds an unpublished manuscript. He was a really well-known author when he was alive, and I guess this manuscript is unlike anything that he's ever published. And I guess it's like really creepy and full of monsters and stuff, and so she decides that she's going to illustrate it. I am looking forward to reading this one so much. After that, I have a wintry thriller. This is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. The back says, a New Year's reunion in the remote Scottish wilderness. One of these friends is a murderer and one won't make it out alive. And that's all I need to know. Next up, I have The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. I just cannot get over all of these cute holiday romance covers. But I'm pretty sure this one is about a girl who gets set up on like 12 dates. I don't know if it's like for a game show or like speed dating, but there's 12 dates. And will she pick one of these 12 guys or her best friend? And then my last book on this list is Apple Cider Slang by Julianne Lindsay. And I'm actually currently listening to this one on audiobook. I'm reading this for the Cozy Hollow Book Club. This is their book pick, I think, for December. This is also, I'm pretty sure, my first cozy mystery. I'm definitely enjoying it so far. This one takes place at an apple orchard. It's the main character and her grandma that run it. And one day they find a dead body in their apple press. And the main character is determined to solve the murder so that it doesn't get pinned on her grandma. I'm just really excited to finally be participating in that book club and also trying out a new genre. Those are all of the books that are officially on my TBR right now. There's definitely some wiggle room for adding things and taking things off. Let me know in the comments what book you're most excited to read this winter is. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.